Welcome to Deeply Disturbing Things,
the podcast.
I'm Macy.
And I'm Naomi.
And we are two anxious counselors who like to talk about deeply disturbing things.
We don't have our hype girl Sarah here tonight.
So sad,
That's
but
okay.
We will drink her wine.
More wine for us. Welcome, dear Abby Normals.
Welcome.
I look really pretty with your glow light.
I know.
Or maybe it's nice. The wine. I'm not.
I look a little.
I'm looking very like
Wednesday Addams-ish. Have you seen the Wednesday on Netflix?
I have really been enjoying it. It's gotten terrible reviews, but I'm liking it.
I know people are really upset about Gomez and Morticia, the parents.
Why are they upset about
because
that?
I know people who are upset because they don't think Gomez is as handsome as he should be.
Do they know what John Aston looks like? The OG?
I don't know if they do or not, but to me, it's like their whole thing is about the love and the passion. Like I would say that at the very beginning episodes,
traditionally handsome, I should say.
Yeah, it wasn't sellable to me either. Like the closeness. I don't know. Initially, I'm not that far. I'm a few seasons or a few episodes.
Started episode 3. The episodes are long.
Yeah, they are. They are long.
I'm liking it just because it's the kind of show I like. Even if it's not
weird and off
the best
made.
You know, there's actually been a couple things in the writing where I'm like, "Ooh, that was a good line." Mm-hmm. So I'm it's not horrible to me. I'm in. If it was that bad, I would stop.
Yeah. I've been watching today. Yeah. It was kind of my dive in. I'm still watching. It kind of reminds me of Sabrina.
I never watched that.
Sabrina's to me is better than Wednesdays. You would like it.
I don't know if I can go back at this point.
What do you mean?
And watch it now.
Why? I don't understand.
All right. This is not our Patreon contact. We need to get back to our topics. If you want to hear more stuff like whatever that was, be our patron. It's only $1 on Patreon.
I mean, everything we say is important to us. So I get to go first today. Don't look at my phone. Where my content is. Okay. I'm going to talk about prison pen pals.
Oh, I love this topic.
Yes.
Did you get input from your dad?
I actually didn't, because I'm kind of going from a different perspective. Not so much the system out, more of the folks in there, and about pen paling in general and letter writing. So that was my angle.
Okay.
Yes, I could get feedback on that at some point for sure. I thought about it. Crossed my mind.
He can give us feedback later if he so desires.
Right. So it was actually really hard to find information about pen paling people. Okay, let me rephrase.
Pen paling people.
When you look at a pen pal prison, there is a lot of stuff that will come up. So don't get me wrong. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of ways to connect. Not so much information about it from the system sort of thing. So, but I was able to find an article from from writeaprisoner.com.
Oh.
Adam Lovell is the one who created this website. And there's about 2.3 million Americans serving time right now in jails or prison. And Lovell's the founder of this website. And it's all about seeking pen pals for the people in prison.
So
initial thoughts.
If somebody wants a prison pen pal, they go to a website like this, and like, how do you get matched, or do you just pick one, or what?
So there's profiles. So the way that this one works is that inmates actually pay $40 to list their profile on the website, and then and that's for a year, and then every year after that it's $30 additional for the website to keep the profile. I was actually pretty impressed because some of the things, like some prisoners may not have internet access, things like that, and so they'll send them a brochure in the mail where they can fill it out written form and send it in.
Old school.
Right. And they'll make the profile for them. Some of them will even, like, if you're hesitant about sending the initial contact, they'll help you like write that initial one to send out to help you get over the nerves of it for new folks. It was pretty impressive.
For new pen pals on the outside may not be sure what to write.
Yeah. Oh. Right. For reaching out if you hadn't already.
Have you ever considered writing to somebody in prison that you didn't know?
No, but
don't
it's actually
either.
like a lot more common than I would expect,
Hmm.
I guess.
My penmanship is terrible.
I have horrible penmanship too. When I was in elementary school, this is why this finger looks weird, got smashed in a car door. Love you, Dad. By accident. And it was during my cursive writing class when everyone else took cursive, and my finger had to be bandaged that whole time. So I never got my cursive class.
I didn't get my cursive class either.
Really?
I changed schools, and
Oh,
the new
it
school,
had a different
like,
curriculum.
it had been taught the grade before.
This totally ties in with everything. So that's awesome. I wish I had better penmanship. Like, I've bought calligraphy pens before. I'm like, I want to like learn, but I feel like I missed so much foundation work.
Oh, but then in 6th grade, I did learn calligraphy.
Did you? Is it
So
pretty?
I'm pretty good at calligraphy, but I have to take my time. My regular writing, I can't even read it. I have to really slow down and
Mine
be
gets very
be
sloppy.
intentional, and then I can do nice word art, like graffiti art or
Right.
calligraphy or whatever it is, bubble
Oh, yeah,
letters.
you do really great
But my regular writing,
spray paint.
yeah, but that's like a whole different mindset.
Is it? Is that just a different world mentally?
Yeah, because it's like
like
art
art.
versus just the functionality of writing something,
Right.
like a list of to do or something.
Well, and I think a list is a bit different than writing a letter to someone,
Yeah,
potentially too.
I used to have really good, like, just regular writing, not cursive, but
Mhm.
writing. I used to do some amazing letters
That's
because
exciting.
letters were a thing when I was younger.
Well, I'm gonna actually pause real quick and just jump to this part. I brought you,
Wait, you want me to write a letter?
you don't have to write a letter, but I brought you fancy
Stationery.
and the paper.
That's so cute.
Mhm. One of the websites I was looking at was like recommending like find something that's like unique that makes
Thank
you
you.
want to, I don't know. It came
It's
with
supposed
it.
to be a thank you letter.
I have no idea. Well, the
Thank
little
you for
tiny
being
writing
you.
says, on this day, I want you to know that you're a very special person.
Where's that written?
It's in that very,
That's
you don't
words?
have your glasses.
That doesn't even look like words. It looks like a line on the paper.
Nope, it's words.
So what? Okay, I see that it's words, but I could never read this.
So I brought one for Sarah too. That's why there's two here.
Are you do you have one for you too? Are we all writing
I have one.
a letter
Yeah.
to someone in prison?
So I was thinking we could.
Okay.
All right.
And then it would have to be the right person.
Well, and there's a profile for that, but we don't, first of all, we don't have to. One of the things I was thinking is like, we could look at a profile and write the letter and not send it, because one of the things is that they do, if you send a written letter, they will have your address.
What's the expectation?
And everyone, okay, so first of all,
you know how I feel with commitment.
the vast majority of what I looked at, this is just kind of an overview of what I'll talk about, is that a very small percentage are romantic, I'm seeking love.
Okay,
type
no,
letters.
right. Immediately.
So that's the corner that we don't have to go into. We don't have to go into, I'm looking for smut stuff. Like this website actually specifically steers away from that. It's more about providing support, friendship. That's what it
Dude, that's what I mean with the commitment. Like if I write one letter and then I never write again, am I letting somebody down?
So, but maybe you
are they going every day to their mailbox and then
they don't have a mailbox.
If it's empty,
they get like handed letters.
They Charlie Brown and away.
Get a letter back. And some of the stories I read would like tell a person like reading his letters from his mom to the cellmate who didn't get any, just because it was nice to hear those kind of words.
Sad.
Right. So that's why I was thinking we don't have to send it. First of all, there is an anonymity piece that you can't really avoid. So there's that, but maybe just see what it feels like to do it, to write that, like what sort of thoughts come up when you're writing someone in that position.
I think it would depend on who that person is,
which is why there's profiles.
It would need to be personal.
Yeah.
I couldn't just do a form letter.
Right.
Hey, how's it hanging in prison?
Right. You'd have to read their profile and kind of get, because they try to detail in the profile, like what that person is looking to talk about, things that they might enjoy talking about, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you going to talk about how like famous serial killers like get so much fan mail? Marriage proposals,
but that's probably very true. And
no,
actually,
it is, yeah.
And there is a huge, like even though it may actually, from my research, it's a small corner that goes to fan mail and like sexual mail that is very explicit. And that even goes from the women prison to the men's prison, like that direction too. It goes back and forth. But it's a small portion of the actual mail that they get.
So does somebody screen these letters first?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Every single letter.
Like what would be screened out? Like what would they
Mhm.
not
They're looking for specific things that may
incite riots or something?
could be code, could be talking about drugs or
Planning a breakout.
or yeah, I mean anything explicitly that direction. Or
What if it's explicitly smutty?
they don't seem, from what
They're
I've
fine with
read,
that?
it doesn't matter. Like they actually don't care about that. They care about if it looks like you're sneaking drugs in, or if it looks like you're disclosing information that you shouldn't be. I don't know, things like that.
Or requesting information, maybe.
Right. Yeah. So, okay. So with this, a visitor might decide to become pen pals, let's say with Jacoby Bright, who's a 22-year-old New Orleans native incarcerated for illegal possession of stolen items, attempted manslaughter, and attempted robbery. He asks on his profile for potential pen pals to become my angel, the most precious thing in my life aside from my son. Okay, so that's pretty...
Wanting something intimate.
Right. Another visitor may debate whether to believe the inmate who writes that he's been wrongly convicted of armed robbery and lost his appeal. You know, like, do you believe that? Do you not believe that? Paul, go ahead.
You know, the Innocence Project, they like try to overturn convictions by maybe bringing up new evidence or trying to get things back in court. Right. Is that tied to this at all? Like, is there a corner of this website of people possibly wrongly accused?
So that does tie in quite a bit. So statistics in America say that 5% of the global population is America represents 5% of the total global population, but 25% of the world's prisoners have recidivism rates. So half of over 216,000 federal inmates in the US are incarcerated for drug-related offenses. So that's 216,000 people. Approximately 70% of them would benefit from Obama's administration push to reduce sentences for nonviolent drug crimes. So 70% of the people in our prisons wouldn't be there under certain administrations. So that could speak to crimes that they haven't committed, but maybe DNA evidence is pending or whatever the thing may be, you know, so there is probably a percentage out there, but it's hard. I would guess it would be hard to get what that is since you don't know until you know.
Right.
But there was someone recently on a podcast, the serial podcast that got his got overturned after, and he was in there for like 20 years, and I had listened to that whole podcast like so 5 years ago.
Life just missed.
Well, and you don't know, like I listened to that podcast like 5 years ago, and he was still in there up until this year. He finally got it overturned and was released.
I hope if I went to prison that I would spend the time, you know, working out in the yard every day, getting super fit and
so
like
strong,
reading every book possible, maybe taking some online courses.
A lot of people do. Yeah.
But based on how I reacted to the pandemic, I might just do nothing.
Right.
I look back at I'm like, it was 2 wasted years. I made 1 fucking loaf of bread. That was all I did.
I'm like, I haven't fully left that life. I have an office I don't go into. Okay, so that website I told you about, writeaprisoner.com, said that it's really made for inmates' friends or family, and for people looking to connect. So some people may ask for those things, but a lot of it is about just connection. So they said that they have, according to estimates from Quantcast, Write a Prisoner gets about 4,000 to 6,000 unique, so new daily visitors to its site every day. And they say around 150,000 people have confirmed and sent prisoners a letter through the website.
What's it called again?
Writeaprisoner.com.
Writeaprisoner.com.
So, and this is just one website, and there are many websites.
Write a prisoner, change a life.
Right. So it is very geared.
There's photos.
I told you, like, there's a whole profile.
I mean, depending on what you're looking for, like this could be like a dating site.
Well, and there are dating sites built similar to
somebody
this.
new on here, be like,
so
I was wondering what happened to you, old pal.
So there were some conservatives who one conservative, I forget his name, some politician, his daughter was murdered, and the murderer had a pen pal website, and the family was very upset, saying, how can he label himself as, enjoying long walks on the beach, things like that in the moonlight, call himself kind and caring after he murdered, why should he have the right to say that?
And are these forgiving Christians that you're talking about?
Am I willing to make that statement? I'm glad I don't know their names. I would say not, but I mean, when your daughter's murdered, I'm sure there's feelings there, but to use your political position to stand up your personal stuff becomes a problem. So
the photos are interesting.
Yeah. Well, because they're
like taken in like bathrooms, but this guy's on a couch with a dog.
Well, probably so one thing that they do allow is a friend or a family member with permission from the prisoner can create the website for them too. Yeah.
If I'm going to be honest,
Mhm.
looking at all these photos,
Mhm.
I want to write all of them. I feel like I'm like, oh.
So one Write a Prisoner user from Malone, Florida says, prison has taught me the true meaning of loneliness, what it means to be separated from everything that's real. My struggle is that he won't become a product of this environment.
Well, except maybe not this one that says, write me only if you dare. I might not. I don't
not dare.
I don't feel the heartstrings a tugging so much as some of those others that are like, I've been in for 10 years. I'm lonely.
Right. And
I'd
that's
just like to hear from somebody. I got no family that cares about me. Like that's some of the others. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, can I have more stationery?
Yes. And that's part of when I started looking into this, it was more of the humanness that caught me. So that's why I didn't go my dad angle on this topic with the guard perspective.
Yeah, and honestly, I could be in there. I've said lots of times,
your face would be on.
I am only not
I might have
dead or in prison because of sheer luck. That's it.
Right.
Maybe a teeny bit of skill, but mostly luck.
Mostly luck. So okay, so in prison, you can't show weak. This is another Adam Lovell, the writer or the owner of this website, says, in prison, you can't show weakness. You're not allowed to be human. Lovell corresponded with friends who went to prison, and he has read thousands of initial letters that people emailed to Write a Prisoner. Lovell describes the pen pal program as an opportunity for prisoners to express vulnerability, hear news from the outside prison, and be themselves. Prisoners can be a bit delusional about who will stick with them through their sentencing. When contact from friends and family drops off, a random senior citizen at the other end of the world is better than nothing. So when that person who didn't get any letters that day gets a kind letter from someone they don't know.
I'm rethinking my empty nest plans. I was thinking it would be filled with tiny dogs. Maybe it will be filled with prisoners.
maybe. I mean, I did find, and he said it's a very, like, because it exists, it will happen. But it doesn't happen often. So there are a couple cases I found of a pen pal communicating with someone for a long period of time. They get out of prison and they murder them. So I found 2 cases of that. But out of how many people talk,
Do you have to give your address?
That's
use a PO box.
I mean, maybe you could use PO box. but it will be on the envelope. So it could have Spokane, Washington.
You can't mail from a PO box?
I don't know
I
how
don't
that
know either. I've
works.
never had a PO box.
I don't mean either. How does one have a PO box?
I don't know. I've never been in the PO box world. It's always
I know,
seemed so
but it makes you think, right? It makes
elusive
you
and
think.
subversive.
So in 2000 is when he started this website, figuring that charging a fee to fund a website would grow over time. He worked previously as a lifeguard and started doing this, and he now has employees
And
blah,
still
blah, blah.
guarding the lives.
Mhm. So he really has focused on the importance of social adjustment and emotional well-being to help reduce recidivism rates.
Well, it's supposed to be rehabilitative, isn't
Right.
it? Prison. It's not just
Is
supposed to
it?
be a
Is
holding
it?
tank,
Is it?
right? Isn't
So
that the idea?
okay. Yes, sort of. I mean, I would say that most of our US prisons don't actually have that outlook, but we want them to. Most
Or
want
else,
them
what's the
to.
point of spending all that time
Right. What's the
if
point?
people are going to come out and be
Mhm.
in exactly the same place?
So he noted that many pen pals have helped inmates find housing, employment after they get released, which can be a huge help with their conditions of parole that may put them right back in again. The vast majority of stuff that comes in are actually from charities and from religious organizations who will reach out to people of their faith
That makes sense.
and help connect them to the community, help provide support and encouragement through that time. So that was interesting. And I hadn't thought about that. I think of smut instantly. So that was, okay.
Well, I was just
That makes
thinking
sense.
instantly of serial killers getting marriage proposals. That was like where my mind
I know, and
immediately went.
I'm sure it happens, but the vast majority of people in prison aren't serial killers. The vast majority aren't. No, 70% are minor drug offenses. So there you go.
How did that go, war on drugs?
Not great. Pen pals can offer prisoners a better outlook on life. And again, this is the maker of the website. So, I know there's other sides to this conversation, but this is the perspective I chose to take. It's a social connection to the world that they will one day be released into. So a lot of these people end up becoming, what's the word? When they become indoctrinated. Why is indoctrinated an easier word than the one I'm thinking
I don't
of?
know what word you're thinking of.
Where they become
Like religious?
No, in the system where they get
Assimilated?
released,
Rehabilitated?
and still act the same way and end up going back because they get
Unchained?
So yes, it's a word for that. Why? I
don't
can't.
know.
I
I'm
can't.
not in your head. What's this word?
I'm not in my own head. Okay, so whatever.
I'm sure it's a really good word.
It is.
You're gonna wake up in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. and sit up straight and shout that word out.
I know I will tonight. It'll happen tonight. It'll happen on my drive.
That's what
home.
always happens to me.
So other writers, so this was interesting too. The next kind of biggest chunk are soldiers stationed overseas who appreciate swapping letters because they have limited connection themselves as condition of their service. So that's something that I thought was pretty interesting. The next tier was law students who are told to connect as part of a class or something to learn about the experience of someone who's incarcerated. So pretty interesting. Lovell writes on the site Lovell writes on the site that his great uncle died in prison, allegedly of suicide, but an autopsy showed he was beaten to death. A letter smuggled out from an inmate to my great grandmother claimed the guards did it and then dragged his body by their cells as a warning to other inmates. For those not up for finding a pen pal, so basically that was the only way information got to leave the prison as well of what had happened or what they had said happened. Because you can imagine a lot of things happen in there, like we were just talking about Brittany, right? Griner.
A lot of things happen in there.
A lot of things happen that nobody gets to know about because it's very hush hush. And actually there's a state, I'll see if I can find it, a state right now that is trying to outlaw written, or not outlaw, but not allow written correspondence anymore to their inmates.
Why?
Because they don't want to have to support that system anymore. But that just again further
seems cruel.
blacks out people. Yeah, it is really cruel.
Because unless they have somebody that can come in person or do a phone call or something, you're going to be cut off from the outside world.
Right.
Ugh, God, that would suck.
And And they do, that website specifically does, he says, like, we pride ourselves in background checks. So all the people, like, they check so what you see should be what is actually the charges, things like that. So you have clear information. It's not like, oh, did he say burglary, but it was actually murder, that sort of thing. So they do verify those things, which I thought was handy, I guess.
I mean, maybe if they weren't screening the letters so hard, they could support the system.
Yeah, but they have to screen letters hard for those that are abusing the system, because I'm sure that happens too. Again, daughter of a guard. So it's Delaware. Delaware is set to join a dozen. So this is just April. This April, the state of Delaware joined a dozen other prisons, 18 other states, in ending physical mail sent to the prison system. Did you hear about this? Like, I didn't hear about this. I
want to know the politicians behind this. What are their parties? What are they?
Tends to be conservative, is the focal point from what I've read.
I mean, that's what I would guess. Mm-hmm. And considering
basically the view that they have no rights. So, because the ones who lean on activism say that this is cruel, because it is a violation of freedom to speech, and that if we're, like you said, rehabilitating people, then they should have connection and social support and ways to grow as people. And we know that letter writing does that. So it's people who view that they have no rights once they go into prison, which makes me go, we've talked about research that's been used against prisoners or forced upon prisoners, because they felt that they had no rights.
And this is such a big,
it's a huge
systemic issue. Like, we could look at so many things as far as,
which is why I leaned on
the racial, ethnic makeup of prisoners, and all the systemic issues that cause that to be the case. I mean, there's so much.
Right.
And then we have, conservative politicians that probably represent the white, male,
cisgender.
Yeah, the white cishet, that they want to cut off something that could potentially be helpful and allow these individuals to be able to be humans.
And we know from previous podcasts that to do a death sentence for a prisoner costs more money. So if money is your problem, it costs more money to put someone on death row than it does for their whole life to be in prison. It does, because I think I talked about it with the youngest execution. I forget his name.
Something Stiddy.
But he was like 14 years old or something.
Yeah, I think his last name was Stiddy.
So,
and he was convicted of an all-man white jury
within 15 minutes. Yeah. So Monica Cosby, a formerly incarcerated grandmother and an activist with Moms United Against Violence and Incarceration, said on the podcast Beyond Prisons that these policies are decidedly cruel and intended to harm. She said, receiving mail is a critical point of support for people on the inside. So many organizations are trying to fight against this, trying to recognize that pen pal or letter writing exchanges between people is beneficial for everybody. It's helpful for people who want to connect outside too. Like, there's plenty of lonely people, and we know that loneliness actually has has death rates involved. In the podcast on loneliness, we talked about that with the impacts of health.
It's detrimental.
Right. So if someone wants to reach out, like, smut aside, which is this tiny part, but again, like, sexual
let people
urges, like, they're
smutty.
In prison, like, they don't have.
Fuck it.
Yeah, let them. Why not? So, not hating on that
not
side.
The smut police.
I just think I think it's pictured as being the majority, but it's not the majority, and who cares? If we on the outside don't make the effort to make these connections, she says, then there's never going to be any made, because that's the point of the system, is to cut people off. I think by writing these letters a little bit, it is breaking down that barrier. It's bringing the people in the prison back to the community where they live. And I completely agree with that. The whole intention is that they will aside from people who are in there for life, they will come back.
You can't push people away and then expect them to be contributing members of society also.
Yeah.
You can't do both.
Absolutely. So this exchanging of letters, there's this has been a political practice for a long time. One organization is called Black and Pink, a national organization dedicated to abolishing the criminal punishment system and liberating LGBTQIA2S+ people and people living with HIV and AIDS. This was founded in 2005. With letter writing as a core component. So they reach out, they have over 20,000 people who are looking for pen pals within the system. And really, again, when we think even in the US and in other countries, how many people get incarcerated for being LGBTQIA or having bias or stigma and having that. Again, just like having any other minority class would increase your risk of going to jail. Okay. So Rosenberg, I cannot say this name. How might you say this? Kaizensteinak?
Kazisniak?
Okay, I feel pretty good about my go at it.
Just a guess.
Asserts that prison industrial complex tries to completely erase people, systematically,
out of sight, out of mind.
Right. Strip them from all their support systems until they're completely alone. After that, a person's will to fight goes away.
Yeah.
So
we're wired to connect. So if you take that away, it's
institutionalization. Being institutionalized. That was the word I was thinking of.
Yeah. It's an easy way to dehumanize people.
Right.
From without and within.
So Charlie, who's been writing to their pen pal for 5 months as part of the California Coalition of Women Prisoners Writing Warrior Project, compares their work of letter writing to the principles of participatory defense. Right. So the volunteering to defend people, a community organization model that engages families and communities of people facing charges and legal defenses. So they say that one of our most powerful resources for how to resist the system is to really pull together communities. They add that this is an important form of resistance because the prison industrial complex just repackages the tactics that white supremacy used to colonize Africa and Turtle Island. This is her talking here, and banks on us giving up and keeping in contact with our loved ones by painting them as bad people and by creating situations and make it dangerous for us to keep in contact with them. So it's just perpetuating that cycle.
We need to keep the doors open.
Right.
I just don't understand why those politicians are trying to outlaw this. It doesn't make any sense in my mind.
It sounds bad on the surface. Like I don't want to read the article I read from the politician because it's basically just saying like how dare they say they're caring when they killed my daughter? Okay. But does that person not exist anymore after that moment happened? Like I get that.
What do we want to happen to that person though?
Well, and he probably wants him dead, would be my guess.
But are they on death row?
No.
Okay, so then what?
So they're allowed to continue to be a human being, which needs connection.
Well, I think the people on the outside are making the choice that they want to communicate with this person.
Right. And
if that's their choice, like
right, no one's being forced.
I might not want to communicate with that person, depending on the situation, but someone else might. I've heard my whole life about these people, like all the correspondence and marriage proposals to serial killers, and all that. Like I never once thought, well, we should outlaw that.
Right.
I thought,
like, why?
I always thought, like, well, that's odd or that's whatever, but that's still their choice.
It's dehumanizing. Again, if we think about the majority of people who the U.S. incarcerates, it tends to be minority population. So it's again dehumanizing and taking rights away. And do people who have committed crimes deserve to serve punishment for those crimes? I believe yes. Do I think that they should be stripped of all humanity? No. That's why I think that research around inmates is a special population. And so we need to be careful.
We can't be cruel.
Right. And there should be some sort of autonomy, like where they're not just forced to do something bad or be forced to have any autonomy taken away. I don't know.
And the autonomy of the people on the out that are choosing
Right.
to
It's
write.
choice.
Like if they want to write to that person, let them.
Fine.
Whatever floats your boat.
So another person who had a pen pal of 6 years, who is formerly incarcerated themselves, explained it this way. The longer that you are in prison, the more sense it makes. You have a ready explanation for the injustice you experienced because you've had it explained to you by other people. It's almost like being in a propaganda camp or a retraining camp. So being convicted is telling you that you are guilty. And then having the normalization process of your friends and your family supporting, even from any angle whatsoever, it humanizes you again, and it helps you take a different perspective.
Yeah.
So he described the importance of simply reinforcing reality as well. So some people, this happened. You do have this much time. Here's what you need to do to have that done. Here's the people waiting for you outside when you are done. That matters. Then this is your life only now, forever.
Yeah. I mean, there's different levels of crimes, which is why there should be different levels of punishment.
Agreed.
Not always the case, but
right.
That's the idea behind this great judicial system we have.
Right. In the case of LGBTQ plus people in prison, letter writing and newsletters can be an essential source of very scarce information about issues related to their populations. So basically getting any information about gender and feminism in the community.
Do they not have TV?
Rarely they receive. Well, but
I thought that was TV.
But it's like community base. So it's, if you're the minority in a prison, like good luck getting the clicker would be my guess.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's what they all don't have their own individual TVs.
Okay.
So that would be my take, at least.
Like, so whoever's like the one in charge is going to choose what we watch.
I would assume.
I get that.
And this is my opinion, but and they said that letter writing was an important counterpoint to misogyny that was pretty rampant with guards as well, especially against the LGBTQ plus community.
We should ask your dad about that.
We should. I mean, he's pretty outdated, though. I mean, it's been a while since he's been in prison.
Call your dad outdated.
I mean,
so mean.
It's been,
Macy's dad, you're relevant.
It's been at least 10 years plus since he's been in there, to be fair. But yes, you are relevant to people that matter, like me. So a lot of information doesn't just go into the prison, it also travels out. So letters help people voice from the inside what prison is actually like, being able to share what institutionalism is like, abuses, just how they're doing. And it's like just being able to understand even, I read a piece about how COVID was impacting prisoners and how letter writing was really the only way that they got to share how it was impacting prisoners in jail or in prison.
I remember that. I just felt for people that had no escape, like you have to be in the milieu breathing all the air.
Right. Like there's no way around it. So all of that really just to say that activism can really lean on letter writing for communities, and being able to support not just a person, but also support communication and free speech, and being able to have free and open, even media knowing what's happening in the world.
Got it.
Which in China right now is a big deal with their COVID lockdowns. Have you seen any of that?
Yeah, the zero COVID stuff.
Right. And like people are getting their phones taken away from them and like everything's being deleted. So, to me, this stuff matters even in these situations. So the last bit that I wanted to say was just about letter writing. Like we talked about, it has fallen out of fashion in general, which I think is sad.
I used to write letters.
Who did you write letters to?
Lots of people. I've told you I had my pen pal in Russia,
Oh, that's right.
the Soviet Union, back in the day.
That's super cool.
But I also, like when I went to summer camp, I'd write letters home, get letters. When my kids went to summer camp, write letters.
That's
write letters to relatives.
That's what's dying off in the younger generations from what I've read, which is sad. So it kind of led me to this last little snippet that I'll say just kind of briefly, that in 2010, there was a research study that 1 in 5 children had never received a handwritten letter ever. And technology keeps getting more and more. Social media.
Just got a handwritten postcard. It's right over there.
From who?
From her cousins. You can grab it.
That's it. I think.
We'll look at it.
Is it a postcard?
Yeah, because
I read a whole thing just about postcards.
her sister's kids my sister's family, not just the kids. My sister's family went to Costa Rica last summer and sent Sally a postcard.
But look at this. It's like up on the dresser. It's cute.
Because it's her first mail she ever got.
Isn't that adorable? And why? Yeah. With social media now, it's kind of sad because all those things just kind of die and fade away.
Do you want me to read it?
Will you?
Yeah. Dear Stella, I hope you are having a great summer. So far, I hope to see you soon. Something. And I have a little present for you. We have seen, I don't know what that is. Ugodis. They are like fat brown guinea pigs whilst in the wild, and we have.
Did they say whilst? How old is this cousin?
She's like 6.
For context, okay.
And we have swam in waterfalls and seen a lot of other things. Bye.
That's adorable.
So cute. Ugodis. They're like fat brown guinea pigs, which
you love guinea pigs.
She didn't even know I love guinea pigs.
So to me,
so cute.
It means so much more being able to have your own context, being able to write it out versus here's a picture and a little caption, that's posted for everybody. It's not personalized. It lacks meaning.
Well, I communicate by email, mostly with my stepdad.
Oh, that's interesting too. Yeah. Cause
that's his mode. And then
in older generations,
Facebook Messenger with
may
other
appreciate
people.
Things like that more, or letters instead of social media.
I do get criticized that I respond with one-liners, but
where's the thought?
I'm wow, that's really interesting.
Basically, one of the outcomes from that research study was
I'm just not wordy with that. I mean, I don't even text you long things.
No, we don't text a lot.
No, I mean,
we need in person.
I'm not a lengthy.
We need a skate.
Texter, emailer.
We need to skate, have a beer, and then vent for 45 minutes.
I'm in person. Even at work, I have to really intentionally put more than one sentence in an email to people. I'm like, okay, do the fluffer in the
I can sometimes be too blunt in emails.
The
too.
fluffer at the end.
Mm-hmm.
The meat in the middle.
It's a sandwich.
Yeah. But it takes intentionality because that's not my nature.
Right. And that's how many kids would probably describe it for writing mail. And most of these kids never even were taught how to mail a letter. So a lot of not a lot.
I know my kids couldn't address an envelope.
Let me rephrase. Simply Stamps really wants people to learn how to mail letters.
No, neither of my kids know how to address an envelope at all.
So they
wouldn't know where to put the things.
Initiatives. And to me, that was when I learned how to write a check when I was in middle school. I'm like,
neither of my kids have ever written a check.
Oh my gosh, that's so challenging. I remember it being really hard when I was doing it. I'm like, wait, what goes here? What goes here? And then you understand it as an adult once you've seen it.
But that should be taught in high school.
I agree.
How to fill out a check. Where do you put shit on the outside of an envelope?
I should have learned that instead of learning how to bake a present. Just saying. I don't think my home ec class was right. I learned how to sew a frog. I still don't know how to sew, first of all. And I would have to follow directions to the T, and I still don't know how to bake a pretzel. So
I got a terrible grade in home ec. I took it in junior high. I
I took woodshop. That was fun. I really enjoyed that, but it felt very dangerous. It felt very dangerous with very little oversight, with very big equipment. Okay, so last quick things. Writing does have real benefits for both sides. So we're talking about prisoners and pen pals, but just in general as well. We know, according to Dr. Mark Cipher and I found other research too, but the brain is impacted in these 7 ways. Number 1, it has a calming effect. Number 2, it coordinates the left brain and the right brain. We've had topics about this. So it actually like pulls the 2 together. It boosts cognitive skills. It inspires creativity.
Well, that's why we encourage journaling with clients.
Right. Like it's not just to get
it
you to write it
solidifies
down.
your focus.
It does. It sharpens aging minds as well. So it actually helps reduce things like
dementia,
Alzheimer's, or the risk of, at least.
I read that wine helps with cognitive loss. I read that today. The flavonoids.
I love flavonoids. What a great word. It also
flavonoids, not flavonoids.
Flavonoids.
That's something else.
Sorry, that was my wine speaking. It doesn't help
It's
with
not
my
helping
language.
with your cognitive abilities.
It improves memory, and it uses more of your brain. And actually the memory part, I did find a few people who talked about from prisoners who said that like letter writing was helpful for them because they start to forget things really easily when they're so disconnected. So having letters to go back and recall that are dated and they see who wrote it is really helpful in creating kind of timestamps and timelines.
The timelines, the history.
Right.
Yeah, that's important.
So there you go. That's my pen pal topic.
Well,
and now we have
you gave me some stationery. It's a little bit old lady, so I think that if I wrote something, I probably wouldn't use this stationery.
But it might be beneficial because you could totally like say you're a 65-year-old lady.
But why would I want to do that?
I don't know, because
I would never.
Because you're
this is not no, it's just this is not my style. I need something all black.
Punk rock.
All black.
Silver gel pens, because if they respond, then you know this is a good friend to continue conversation, but they need a gel pen.
Yeah. I mean, I'll think about it. I'll sleep on it.
This was a super cute letter, but maybe like, cursive, I think it's really pretty. Is it functional? Probably not. Is it a dying art? Absolutely.
My kids don't know how to read cursive.
But just general writing skills, I think, are still important. So many kids are just all typing. Like they never handwrite a paper. They never experience the hand cramps. I feel like it should be, it should exist still.
Hand cramps.
All right, your turn.
Okay. Have you ever looked up your house on Google Earth?
Okay, yeah.
And what did you find? When's the last time you did it?
I actually did it for my dad's house. And it was an older photo of it, like a few years back. And so I could see actually like old cars that he used to own parked out front.
Have you looked up your place recently?
Not recently, no. Can we look it up?
You should, yeah. On your computer, not my computer.
I can't because we're recording.
Oh, do it on your phone.
Can I? Okay, I'm gonna try.
I'm going to talk about disturbing things cited on Google Earth.
Oh, I was like, oh, is Sarah a patron? Because she texted, way to kick me while I'm down. There's no wine served at scout meetings. I missed that you had sent more wine for us.
More for me.
Okay, sorry. I will Google Earth now.
Okay, Google Earth. First, a little history on Google Earth.
Should I know this before I put my address in? Like, am I gonna
No, it's fine.
Be a target for an invasion of some kind?
I mean, no guarantees. Google was named in 1997. The founders started it in 1995. It was originally named Backrub, which is, I think, a weird name.
That's creepy.
They were trying to organize the links that were found in the World Wide Web.
Oops, I put our location currently while using this app.
Oh, you're going to find my house.
I'm going to find your house. Here we are.
I know.
Where's my car? Where are any of the cars?
Well, it's not in real time. That's in the summer, obviously.
And as they where there's always cars parked up your street.
But you're not looking at the street.
I am.
That's the street.
Oh,
yeah.
There's still no cars.
Well, it was during the day. Everybody's at work.
Good for them.
They're all the cars have been towed.
Okay, I'll put in my address. Continue.
So
Back road.
Google is now the most dominantly
Mhm.
used search engine in the world.
It's really interesting because Google Earth, I remember being really like, oh yeah, go look at Google Earth. But that was like maybe 15 years ago that I thought of that.
It's really come a long way.
Has it? Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. In researching my topic, I'm spending a lot of time on there. It's been really fascinating. I mean, I think it has a longer way to go. It's
Mhm.
not where aesthetically I want it to be with the intensity of I want, where you
Intensity.
can see people's pores. But
Ew. I don't want to.
No, I'm super into that. But I think it's come a long way. So the vast majority of folks use Google. 94% use Google. Bing.
Oh dang, this is actually pretty recent.
Bing is the second
Had to have
place
been this
search
summer.
engine. Yeah. And you can go to the street view.
How do I?
You have to like do the person and then you can like
Maybe tap it.
no, you can like make the angle different. I don't know.
Okay.
Fuck around.
I'll figure it out.
Bing is in second place with less than 3%. So Google is so commonly used.
Ew, and Bing is gross. I've used it before for I hate searching on Bing because when you put something in, you get like, that is obviously not what I fucking meant, Bing. And then you have to retype it in. Like Google's just, its algorithms have had more time. It's better. It's a better system.
So they have 94%. Bing is less than 3.
I get that.
But Google is so commonly used. It's become
Is it
a
bad that I
verb.
instantly went to spy on my neighbors? I didn't know they had a pool. I can't see their pool from my yard. Dang. And they didn't have their gazebo then.
Google Maps went live in 2005.
Mm-hmm. I like Google Maps.
In June of that same year, Google Earth was born. So it's a satellite imagery-based mapping service.
Mm-hmm.
The default center of Earth originally was Lawrence, Kansas.
Oh.
Because that's where the founder of the company that was named Keyhole.
Mm-hmm. Look how
And
dirty this person's backyard is across from me. Ew, this is horrible.
That's the mapping service that Google Earth is based on. You know, like Pokemon Go, right?
I love Pokemon Go. I'm so glad I'm not outside there, like in my sweatpants attire, like dragging my mailbox down or my mail. Sorry. Why?
Garbage can.
Thank you.
So Keyhole is the creator of Pokemon Go.
Mm.
So Google Earth and Keyhole have the same creator.
Really?
Today, more than 60% of the Earth's land surface is included in Google Earth.
I guess that makes sense because they already had that all coordinated and mapped. So, and then they had to like reach out to. That's fascinating. Okay.
In 2007, Street View was launched.
Mm-hmm.
And this gave the ability for people to visit the Great Barrier Reef or to go into volcanoes. It's really cool. Do you want to know how Google Earth works?
I do actually. I'm very curious and also have gone second, so I'm talkative.
So it's a unique.
No, I went first.
Yeah. It's a unique geomapping and tagging program that uses composite imagery that forms a comprehensive interactive map of the Earth. So it stitches together more than 1 billion satellite and aerial images. So they get images from airplanes, from helicopters, from cars, from the satellites.
I think
and they stitch all these together and it forms this comprehensive interactive map.
Is that why it kind of looks almost like a painting, but not quite like a detailed painting, almost like it's not like a photo, you know? Street View is, but
I think that it's just, the application is limited when you zoom in still.
Right.
Because the basis is satellite imagery, which is taken from like hella far away.
I bet you people have so many issues with privacy with this.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that.
I figured. Yeah.
And just briefly.
Give you a little plug.
It's not really the
focal point.
The focal point because you don't have privacy.
Good luck. You're lucky. Other countries
Live
have
underground if you
what
want
is it, like
privacy.
CNET TV or whatever in other countries, where like every street corner has a camera. Everyone.
So it's been really cool to have this tool. Like you can see some of the photos like before and after a flood or before and after a hurricane or tornado. These are all Google Earth images that can
I know
show these things.
The last time I looked at my house, it was before I lived there. So it is interesting seeing like my car in the driveway in the picture now.
Yeah. So Google Earth features these 3D reconstructions. And you can actually, they have a new feature now where you can go all the way back to 1984.
What?
Because they're using satellite imagery provided by NASA.
What?
So you can
That's
travel
cool.
back in time and see your house all the way back to 1984.
How do you do that?
I don't know. I haven't tried that one
Okay,
yet.
I was grab my phone.
But I was
I'll
like,
wait for
wow,
more
that's cool.
information. That is cool.
So Google Earth digitally stitches together billions of images taken by satellite and aerial photography.
Billions.
And it uses the highest quality pixels from each photograph to create the clearest view of any portion of Earth.
I mean, that's so much computing power alone just to do that.
Yes. And I thought this was really interesting. So anytime you open up the Google Earth website, it's always springtime on every area of the planet.
It looked nice. It looks springy.
They call it Pretty Earth.
Oh, that's adorable. So
wait,
wait,
it's a little judgy, but that's what it is.
I like winter, first of all, so I would like that, but I get how it would be hard to see the landscape.
I feel like we should be challenged to find beauty.
Like maybe you
all
could click,
4 seasons.
like you could click a season.
But
I would like that.
Yes, but that's
what will this house that I'm gonna buy look like during winter, during January?
Right, when everything's just
oh, that hill looks horrible. No. Or it's okay.
So it is
plow.
springtime.
Okay. It's always springtime everywhere, everything.
That's what
it does
always
feel
show.
a little deceptive,
They always show.
a little groomed.
Yes. Well, no, it's not groomed, it's just springtime.
I know, but it's groomed for your viewing pleasure.
Google Earth has been viewed by some as a threat to privacy and national security, leading to the program being banned in multiple countries.
Really?
Some countries
I shouldn't be shocked.
have requested that certain areas be obscured in Google satellite images. And these are usually areas that contain military facilities.
I do know that Pokemon Go has like the do not like dangerous areas are like blurred out because they don't want people falling off cliff edges and things like that, or going into private government property.
We're not in my bay now. Where's Sarah?
You better go.
Where's Sarah?
I'll go.
It's Sarah's job.
Is it downstairs in the fridge?
No, because this is red wine. It's on the counter.
Tabletop temp.
Tabletop temp.
BRB.
Okay.
It's very hard not to slide in my socks on your.
Because I clean my floors obsessively. Okay. So that's the history. Anomaly hunters regularly scour Google Earth and they're looking for something of interest. Is it something that will support a conspiracy theory? Is it something that will support something they're interested in? Is it just something unusual and weird? Is it something that is just strange? I wish I had the time. So an example is something that's been called a lake of blood. So Macy, take a look. That's been called a lake of blood.
That's terrifying.
This is outside Sadr City in Iraq. And it's no longer red now, but at the time that was filmed, it was. And some think that this is runoff from a nearby slaughterhouse. So I was saying
That's
that
a lot of blood to make that whole thing red,
some people just spend
bright red.
a lot of time just looking at Google Earth trying to find interesting and strange things.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things they found.
I've seen a whole game built around that where you see a Google Earth image and you have to guess where it's at, and like they give you some clues, and so you play against other people to see who can like geography better. It was interesting. Yeah.
I can geography the shit out of things.
But like, oh, those rooftops, those are mostly in Italy, you know, that sort of thing. Or that road sign, it can be really hard.
Okay, look at that one.
Hamad.
Hamad, yes. You see
Okay.
that?
Like, is that on a beach?
Yes. So
Wow.
Hamad bin Hamdan Al Nahyan is a billionaire sheik who had his name carved into the sandy surfaces of Fataisi Island. It's an island he owns in the Persian Gulf. So these letters are 1/2 mile tall and 2 miles long altogether. The letters of his name are visible from space. I mean, that's a level of richness
I was just thinking, like, I wish
can't relate to.
I can't relate to it either. I wish I could do it.
Like, A, you own your own island.
Could you
B,
imagine?
you have a staff to perfectly make
that
1/2 mile tall letters. Like, if I tried to do, like, those are uniform.
and they're perfect.
They're like printed on I was gonna say a typewriter. They're like computer printed.
Yeah.
And look, the ocean water goes into them. It's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool because they would have had to take that picture really quick too, or else the ocean would like blur out the.
Yeah, eventually.
But you could
like,
see
the
some
ocean
of
will
that.
Water away. Right. Water away. Water away.
Hey, open your other.
It's pretty cool.
Did you see that over there? Look.
Yeah, thanks, Rody.
You're welcome. The classic jingle.
The classic jingle.
I have a little more.
Okay, look at this one. What do you see? Describe.
Boobies. Oh, sorry.
It's not
okay.
boobies.
I see squiggle marks. My topic took me down a road. Squiggle marks and then 2 circles with 2 diamonds in the middle.
Yes.
That look like boobies.
This is not boobies because this is the Scientology Center in New Mexico. An aerial view. Definitely not boobies.
Sure, I was so worried about that.
Thanos does not have boobies. Well, maybe Thanos has boobies.
Are they gonna come after me now again?
Again,
twice.
So this is the aerial view of their base. I love how they call it a base. I wish I had a base.
I want a base.
I know.
Can this be our base? The podcast base. Welcome to the base. Okay, we're gonna sound cool from now.
So it's crazy. Like from the aerial view, it is 2 giant concentric circles, like a Venn diagram.
Diamond nipples.
And each one has diamonds in the middle.
I just hit myself in the face. For those not viewing the video, which you can view on YouTube if you want to see me just flick myself in the face with a booby nipple. That's what I did. I went like this.
Oh, I was trying to mock you and I accidentally hit myself in the eye.
Please go find this episode on YouTube if you haven't, and you can watch that little section, fast forward however long this has been. Enjoy.
I went on a road trip for
Your eye okay?
Well, I'm rubbing the other eye because I strained my eye really hard on the road trip down because
really hard.
There was zero
hard.
There was zero visibility because it was such a typhoon. Like I couldn't see the roads, it was treacherous. So I like strained my eye and I had a lot of
where were you again? It was
eye healing. And I made peace with the fact that my retina was going to detach and I would be blind. I made peace with it. I'm like, I'll rock a patch. I'll do it.
I had that moment yesterday too. I was playing Call of Duty Zombies and I got out a munchie snack, which was Cool Ranch hot and spicy, which I'd never had before. And I was eating it like, this is so good. And a flick of the spice went into my eye, this eye, and it burned so bad. Like I had to go sit and flush my eye out. It was that bad.
Are you referring to a Dorito?
A Dorito that was Cool Ranch, hot and spicy, quite good.
Oh.
Don't put it in your eye. It was one of the worst pains I've had in my eye.
I would not put one in my eye. I would.
Okay, I have a question. You went to Mid-Washington and experienced a tsunami.
No, Oregon.
tsunami. Were you on the coast?
No, a typhoon.
A
I said.
typhoon. What's a typhoon? I honestly
It
don't
was just
know.
heavy rains and wind,
Oh,
like
that's scary.
zero visibility, car
Mhm.
being blown off the road. It was rough.
Yeah, I think the worst I was in when it got really smoky in the middle of the state when there was all the wildfires and I had to drive through there and it was like no visibility, but wind and rain would be scary.
It was scary.
I'm glad your eye didn't detach from the retina.
It's better now, but it was like touch and go for 3 days.
That's a long drive too. 8 hours?
It wasn't
7?
bad. I've done worse.
We know.
I have the
You look
heart and
golden
soul
on
of a
this.
long haul trucker.
Look how pretty you are. You're so pretty.
Thank you.
It's a shirt. It's a nice razzle dazzle with your
I
hair.
used to wear it on New Year's and then I didn't wear it.
Okay.
Because
it felt like I thought it would feel sorry.
no, it's vintage. It's very rough feeling and also completely see-through.
It is. Oh, I was wondering about that too. I was the first second I saw it, I was like, is that see-through? And then I was like, no, I think it has a sheer underneath.
No, it's see-through. And New Year's
even
here is
undershirt
super
on.
cold. So
we did
decided not
diamonds
to wear it.
earlier. There were no diamonds.
That's
So I
what you're
flicked
talking
mine.
about. My eye is still hurting where I stabbed the finger.
I was gonna here, look at me real quick. It looks a little swollen.
No, it's fine.
Is it fine?
Yeah.
That's good. When did you get back?
Saturday night.
Oh, just a few days ago.
2 days ago. Today's Monday. Mapvertising. This is the phenomenon of companies understanding that people are always looking at Google Earth. And so they're putting giant ads in there.
Ooh, face up.
So here's a KFC ad.
Ew, gross. I worked there for 2 years. That makes me upset.
When I was in high school, I loved me a Chicken
That's what I
Little.
worked in high school. That's why it
Loved
makes
me
me
a
upset.
Chicken Little. Loved them.
Or the chicken little sandwich. I can make that on point.
I don't need chicken now, but I love.
You know what I really liked, but I hated admitting that I liked it because they made the famous bowl that had the popcorn chicken, gravy, corn, and mashed potatoes all in one thing. It was actually fairly okay. But they would call it the famous bowl. But I was there when it was brand new. How can it be famous when it didn't exist prior?
That's good branding.
And now it's famous.
It makes people want to be a part of it.
Exist. And it's just a mush of everything. And I hate
this is the
mushing things
famous
together.
podcast.
We're so famous. Everyone hates us and they talk bad about us. And that's also as good as good.
No such thing as
Publicity.
bad publicity, right?
And actually, that's not true. I just figured I'd put it out there to see Elon Musk if you want
See what happens.
Scientologists, anybody, go ahead.
Hit us.
I mean,
you can see sunken ships on Google Earth.
Ooh, really?
Check this one out.
Oh, through like imaging. That's cool.
Isn't that cool? So this
I
is
have like a huge sense of
this is a Bolivian cargo ferry.
I want to
that you
like,
can see.
if sharks didn't exist, I would love to go explore that, like with a snorkel.
I'm not
thing.
afraid of sharks.
I mean, I am. I feel like it's a healthy fear for my life.
I'm not afraid.
Listen to our pool shark episode way back if you're curious about my fears. But I feel like that's, what do you mean you're not scared of sharks? Like it would prevent you.
I would not prevent me from swimming in the ocean because I love swimming in the ocean.
I learned how to surf, but I cut my finger on a coral reef and I literally ran out of the water. And then guess what? 2 hours later, they said a shark had entered the area and everyone was forced to leave. That was my fault. I did that.
Was born at the ocean, raised at the ocean. I'm not afraid of swimming in the ocean. It's my peace, my safe space.
I love that. As I flew into Hawaii, there was a news article about someone chum fishing off of their longboard, and they got his like legs ripped off and died before he got, like, that's what I had to come into Hawaii with. Great. Can't wait for my surfing lesson.
I'm fine with it.
A sea turtle touched me though. It came up while I was surfing and like touched his nose on me and swam away. And this person said it was good luck.
Great.
Is that true? I'm looking for you for truth. Or is that a thing they tell tourists?
Like tourist bullshit, but I don't want to pop your bubble.
It's pops.
There are a lot of strange things spotted in the Gobi Desert. I'm not going to go into them because there are so many strange things. I encourage you, if you're interested, just look up all the strange things spotted in the Gobi Desert. No, because I have other things that I want to talk about. Okay. I had to pick and choose. This is like curated collection of disturbing things found on Google Earth, curated by moi.
I like this.
There's cool art you can see.
Oh, that's cool. I would like to see
this was art. My favorite one.
What?
It's a ginormous pink bunny. Big, it's like as big as like what, a football field?
Oh yeah, that's like what, 6-7 houses next
yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Like that's fucking rad.
That is cool.
There's also possibly a flying saucer that the melting in Antarctica is revealing.
What?
I thought I'd show you that.
Holy cow, bananas.
Look at that. This
roundness, yeah.
That to me is not organic. That is not an organic shape. It's completely a perfect semicircle, and it maintains that shape if you look at it
over time
on different angles. Like, oh, how do I do the angles?
And you got to spin it with your fingers.
I forget how to do it.
Like math it. Yeah.
No, I see. I was trying to go like up. Okay, you
made it way worse.
Need to stop. Stop fingering my laptop, please. But to me, that's like not organic and natural shape.
Okay, I can see that.
Yes, I like to believe. But
you are a believer. I am a please make me a believer.
Some people,
but from what I learned from your son is very telling though. That like fills the gap for me of like you can't just expect it to happen to you. You have to be open to receiving it and willing.
I know. I learn from him every day.
It's like
every day I learn from him.
For my little judgy mind, it was nice to have a little like, okay, yeah, like reality. Do I do that? No. So
well, that's why
I can't really speak to it then.
That's why we don't grow if we just exist in a bubble or in an echo chamber.
Like being in a prison.
You can't. You have to hear other views and be open to like actually listening.
You can't grow in a vacuum.
That doesn't mean you're like, oh, I'm gonna change my thoughts, but at least be open.
Right. Sorry.
Some people purposely prank the Google Street View cameras when they drive by. Did you know that?
I heard something about the car ones before, but I don't know.
Have you heard of Pigeon People in Japan?
No. No, I have not.
Isn't that funny?
That's amazing.
So if you have a heads up when the Google Street View camera is coming by, you can go outside and do any number of
like, why is that
shenanigans
in my house? There's like literally pigeon people with.
There's a whole bunch of people. They're wearing pigeon head masks. They're just standing there weirdly in rows. Awkward. Yeah, I love that. I love the pigeon people.
Oh, that's amazing. I love it. I really like that bunny too.
So if you happen to be outside when Street View cameras drive by, you're going to get photographed doing whatever. Or if
public
it's like
access,
you know, an aerial shot with a helicopter, an airplane, whatever. So you can be caught in all kinds of embarrassing situations. Human faces are blurred.
Okay.
They have a thing that does that, but still people can identify who's taking a shit on the side of the road next to their work vehicle with the name of their work company clearly shown on the
can I just say his face
Google
is
Earth.
Not actually blurred. Look at his face.
Semi-blurred.
It's not, his ass is blurred, but his face, look, I can't, but his face is not blurred.
It's not, no, the blurring is not what you would think.
No, that's not what I would want if I was taking a shit in someone's yard.
Well, sometimes I'm pissing on a hike. Like I could be caught.
I've peed in a yard before. It
could be caught. Like that could be you on Google Earth until they update the image.
Yeah, when we had the roller derby thing, that one, and Was it you and me? I don't know. Me and someone else peed in by the gas station
I don't know. I pee constantly.
all the time,
Oh no,
everywhere.
that was us.
That was you and I.
That was in Vampire Town.
When we had the raccoon, the cone, the
Twilight Town.
Twilight Town.
I can't remember the
When
name.
we threw the
Port
cupcakes on the
something.
cars. It's fine.
Yeah.
Things happen.
Things happen.
It was a fun night. I just remember you all of a sudden after like 2 hours of walking and the hotel people being like, you're really far away and worried about us on the phone. And we finally get an eyesight of the hotel. We have the cone so everywhere we go, everywhere we went, we would take a traffic cone because it would have the place spray painted on it.
And we do so for training purposes.
Training purposes only. But here's the best part. So then you go, oh, we're here. And then you shove it up your shirt, you run off to the side and you start ninja crawling to the back of the hotel. And he literally sees you do all of it.
Well, in my mind, I was being
so
ninja-like.
But then we woke up the next morning. This is the same night that I threw up pink cranberry vodka all across the room.
No, that was a totally different.
In the bathroom? Was that different? Oh.
That was Ellensburg.
Oh gosh. How do you remember that?
Because,
oh wait, because I was unconscious.
Because I drink wine and it helps with my cognitive
flavonoids. I remember us opening the curtain though, and that traffic. We were like, "Was that a dream?" We opened it up, and the traffic cone was sitting in the bathtub.
That was true. Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that was a fun trip.
That was super fun. Was that the Canada? Where every road was up the whole way. Do you remember that?
We just said it was Twilight Town.
Okay, but we're Canada.
Port something. The top of the Olympic Peninsula.
When I got the international jacket.
Jesus Christ.
Every hill was up.
Can you please look up Twilight Town?
And we had a skater.
Port
Angeles. Port
Townsend, I think.
Okay. There was a Twilight store where the Twilight was filmed outside of, and there was this group of like maybe
Port Angeles
young teens out front.
It's Port Angeles.
But it was like midnight or 2 a.m.
This was right after Twilight came out, so it was really big.
But they were like hanging out at the store, and we're just walking, trying to get to the hotel, and they're like
trying to be Twilight.
And they were hassling us though. They were like, "Well, you like Twilight?" And we're like, and you said, "No, you're the ones hanging outside of the Twilight store." And then
and then they felt all awkward.
Yeah, because they were like, "Yeah, we are."
I can be a bully.
Yeah, they were. You can be a bully. It's fun to watch you be a bully.
After people pass away, their loved ones can go visit them on Google Earth because if they're captured. So a lot of people love this.
I really feel like I'd rather a photo, but
a lot of people love it because it's like capturing a natural moment,
mm-hmm.
like taking out the trash.
I mean, I don't need to see that.
Well, but some people get comfort.
Good feels. I get that.
Missing persons cases have been solved with Google Earth.
Ooh, maybe this murder case will be solved. But has anyone looked at Google Earth? That's what I want to know. Police, have you looked at Google Earth photos?
I'm sure they have, but maybe not.
Maybe not.
William Molt was reported missing from Lantana, Florida in November of 1997. He failed to return home after a night out at a club. A missing persons investigation was launched by police, but the case went cold. 22 years later, police were called to reports of a car found in a pond in Moon Bay because it was spotted on Google Earth.
Mm-hmm.
When the vehicle was pulled from the water, skeletal remains were found inside.
Never a good sign.
And they were positively identified as belonging to Mr. Molt. So here's a picture of the car that was spotted from Google Earth.
Oh, yeah.
Not Google Earth.
No.
Google Earth.
Google Earth.
Isn't that crazy?
That is.
It was there for 22 years.
That's intense.
But some eagle-eyed Google Earth observer spotted that.
Maybe check out your neighborhood. This will solve all the crimes in the world if you just like scope out your it's like the new neighborhood watch.
Well,
you would see so much crime around here.
I'll say
You get the hand.
Should I say
passing
what I
the
want to
bag.
say?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll say.
Ahead. It's
So,
far enough along. If people are in right now, they're dedicated. They deserve it.
My kids and I, like a week or so ago, a little over a week, it was the yard site, if you're a Jew, you know what I'm talking about, of my great aunt Lillian. So we, went to her grave, brought some stones. If you're a Jew, you know what I'm talking about. And then started talking about the graveyard next door, which is the Greenwood Cemetery, which we've spent a lot of time at. And I was like, well, we have some time. And I thought I would show them like the old, like racially segregated
the section
part back in the back. So we walked back to like the Asian area and like had a lot of deep discussions about death and legacies, and like my fears. But then decided to go up top because Skylar said there's like a skate park back there. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, like there's a whole like crazy skate park back behind the Upward Cemetery. And so we drove up there and like we couldn't see anything and it was like cold and snowy, so we didn't. But then on Google Earth yesterday, when I was researching this topic, we looked and it's there. It's a crazy fucking phenomenal skate park.
Cool.
I know.
We should go there sometime.
Well, Asher, because he's a rad skater. I'm definitely gonna pick him up there at some point. But it's super cool, and I feel like maybe I just revealed a secret. I'm sorry, skater community, but I'm an OG skater. Asher's a rad skater, so we're like allowed to go. In 2013, Google agreed to remove the image of a dead teenager from the maps.
Good idea.
Kevin Barrera was shot in 2009 and his body was found beside railroad tracks in Richmond, California. The image showed his body surrounded by police officers. The teen's dad had requested this out of respect for his son.
Fair.
So also, sometimes there are weird effects when the cameras are moving or glitching.
I can imagine.
This could happen to you.
Ew, long legs. Ew, I hate it.
It's camel legs.
Camel legs. It's camel legs. She has camel joints.
This could be you.
You can have both a camel toe and camel legs.
That's all I have.
Is that it? That's a great point to end it on. That's terrifying.
That's it.
I love your pigeon people.
Pigeon people.
Highlight.
Yeah.
Well, until next time.
Wait.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry. You said you were done, so I was jumping.
No, but we haven't. Well, last time we forgot to do our little.
You're right.
Like what we talked about last time.
We also had Thanksgiving break.
Do you remember your last topic?
Okay.
Mine was the true story of the first Thanksgiving. What was yours, Macy? Well, Macy's thinking about what her topic was. I'm gonna plug. Please be our patron on Patreon because it's an awesome way to support our podcasts and it helps pay for our little expenses and shit.
I have to cheat. I'm cheating.
Oh my gosh, I have to look up what our.
I don't remember. That was so long ago and so wine ago. That was 2 weeks ago.
So wine ago. Oh my god, I love that.
Certain Podbean episode in Google, like that was gonna happen. I don't remember. If you don't know our last episode, go on to podbean.com, look up Deeply Disturbing Things, find our last episode that will be published. This next one will be published obviously when you hear it, so it'll be the last episode before this.
So until next time.
Until next time, consider writing a thoughtful letter.
And if you ever leave the house, make sure you have a fashionable outfit on because you might be photographed by a Google Street View.
What a fitting, like my hat. I told her when I came in, I couldn't take my hat off because my hair and my bangs are a mess. And I'm wearing sweatpants or a different brand for my pants and my socks.
and I had a lot of thoughts. If you want to hear them, be our patron on Patreon.
Bye.
Bye.